Alright, what's up y'all, it's LakerFan here, as looks about title of today's video, here to showcase the best shooting guard build for a 5-out team in NBA 2K24. Now, in today's video, I'm going to technically show you guys two of them, and they can both actually play on the court at the exact same time, because they function secondarily as a lockdown too, so you can play them at the 2 and the 3 next to your point guard in a 5-out offense. So, the builds that we have showcased in today's video are going to be Tonic and AK's build, if you guys are familiar with the channel. Essentially, they play both the guard positions for me, but can play at separate times as well, because we could actually play with only one of them at a time if we would like to, because of these other builds that we showcased, which is the 6-7 at the lockdown and the power forward position, and then at our center position, technically as our 5, we have Joey at the 6-8 that I've shown all these build videos if you guys want to check those out. But again, in this video, we're going to be showcasing the guard builds, aka the kind of shooting guard essentially for the 5-out offense. So I hope y'all enjoy. If you do, feel free to drop a like, sub if you're new to our noties, all good stuff, and like always, try to 1,000 likes. So, to start us off with, I'm going to showcase to you guys AK's build. So this is going to be our kind of point guard in a sense, but you can see the functionality of it as a lockdown as well. And remind you guys, this whole lineup is centered around me being the point center. I have the build that has no shooting on it, but I'm 6'10", and can utilize it as a 5-out offense that, you know, can't shoot, so technically it's a little bit more of a 4-out 1-in, but can still be utilized as a pick and roller as well. And this is the build that we're going to primarily go to as the next point guard, essentially. So it's a little bit less of a like off-ball shooting guard feel to it. You can see it has the ball handle and the speed with ball. Then it's also got really good pass act with that 89 for Halliburton. And then with that 94 3-pointer, it's utilized as a pretty good pick and roll option with the Gold Agent 3. So you got a lot of different options to go to with offense. And then for defense, we still have the 94 prim for the Hoff Challenger, Hoff Workhorse, ankle braces, all that stuff. 89 steal, you're going to see Tonic differed in that opinion, where he went with 90 to be able to go for just a threshold of obviously that, and then getting the right stick ripper as well. I know you guys may think like, why not just go 91 steal on builds like this, but the thing is with the wingspan, they both really wanted that 94 3-pointer for the agent and just in general to have it just, you know, a little bit higher. So you could, if you want, go up on the wingspan a tick and then just have 93 3-pointer or 92, and then you could have the 91 steal. And I think that's a pretty good look if you're talking defensive purposes, because you don't really lose anything as far as being an off ball that much, to be honest, besides what, corner specialist. Like if you're not trying to put the ball on the floor and really create from 3 that crazy, Agent 3 is not a super big deal. So that is one minor tweak I would recommend to you guys if you wanted to make a couple changes to the build. So anyway, besides that, we have pretty good speed. I know you're maybe looking at the 86, and if you guys are really like, you know, thorough on the builder, you're going to see that 86 speed would have been what you need for the gold speed booster. We were thinking about that initially too, but it's nothing really to do with that. Obviously, we just want good speed on a build like this because it's going to be functioning a little bit as a lockdown as well. So combine that with 77 acceleration for the fast feet, 71 strength for the bronze immovable as well, and then we have some stamina related things like obviously the 94 feet and the workhorse on here as well. So it's a pretty well-rounded build. I think it functions as a pretty good on-ball lockdown if we need it to, but ideally what the main role that I'd like to play with these is, I'd like to have only one of these 2 guard builds that we're going to be showcasing in today's video on the court at a time, and then we'd be able to fill in the whole rest of the lineup. Like 2 more lockdowns with the lock and the power forward back in, and then obviously Joey's build as the center, and then me as the point center. So long story short, I want these builds to be the 2 guard defenders. I want them to guard shooting guards, and that's elite defense for guarding shooting guards. 94 prim and 89 steal, it's insane, bro. So all of this included, you know, we're pairing it next to 2 lockdowns that one's guarding ball, one's guarding back end, and then you have another rotator out the corner, and then a 6'10" point center in the other corner for rebounds as well. Not primarily rotates, but it's a crazy defensive lineup, bro. It comes together to be absolutely wild. So with all those things included, that is AK's build right there. So now let's pan over to Tonic's and show you guys the differences between these. Also, if you guys didn't know, I'm pairing up with the NBA 2K Lab this year. So you can use code LAKER for 20% off at checkout at their website. That's NBA2KLab.com. On this website is all types of really good statistical jump shot information. You can also test the jumpers on their website too. Plug the controller straight into your phone or to your PC. You can get early, green, late. It'll tell you where you need to adjust on that jump shot. Or if you don't know what jumper you want to run, you just go to their jump shot recommender, you punch in your height, the jump shot rating that you're working with, and then based on the milliseconds of timing that you get, it'll recommend you a jump shot. So again, if you want to use code LAKER for 20% off at checkout, that's NBA2KLab.com. Appreciate you guys, and we'll get back to the video. So with Tonic's build, it's less ball handling investment, and that's a pretty, stretch to even just say that. It's quite a bit less ball handle invested. However, as you can see, it's ridiculously invested in the mid-range, three-pointer, and then the post control as well. Now, I made a couple tweaks to make this a little bit more competitively, usable, so to say. I don't think the layup that Tonic had on his original build is exactly the sauce, if we're being completely honest. And I believe he had a little bit more ball handle on his. He actually has 70, but the version that I showed in the video before only showed it to 60. Long story short, this is a version that's a little bit closer to what Tonic's actual build is. Mind you, he just has like 70 ball handle instead. So I forget what exactly he dropped off here, but long story short, he has a lot of layup, a lot of post control, a lot of mid-range three-pointer. The pass hack is good. Obviously the steal, like I said, he went for that threshold right there. So in comparison, I guess actually one of the big differences between the model I just showed you guys and his actual build is the perimeter defense. He only has 89 on this build, whereas I showed you it with 94. And then same with the speed and acceleration too. Like the one I showed you had 88 speed with 83 excel, and then obviously his did not either. So like I said, this version has its own little minor tweaks, especially the layup being the main one. I mean, the one that I showed you had 36 driving layup instead of 88 right here. 88 is capable of doing a lot of crazy things between float game, fearless finisher, all that stuff. As you can see, he has a strength enough for that gold fearless finisher as well. Same with like the clamps level he has with silver. But for me, I just went more defensive with that higher perimeter defense, and then obviously a little bit less on the layup investment to be able to get, let's say, even 88 speed and 83 excel. I think that actually could be pretty crazy for playing with as an on ball, and then as the acceleration would factor into the pro dribble style, allowing you to move quickly from time to time a little bit better than other, you would with less. I know some people aren't a huge believer in acceleration, but I think it was a pretty nice little addition to maybe do. So let's pan back to that build real quick. So with this one, obviously we have the ability to run normal dribble style if we would like, but since you're a point guard or shooting guard, you get the pro dribble style as well that we just mentioned. The interior defense, obviously high on this one too with the 65, and I gotta say, obviously, like the value of that is very cheap. So let's just say with the 94 prim, yada yada, like that's what it would be at with 34 as the default. But I mean, maxing it out, it's very cheap. It's actually insanely cheap, and that's how it always is on these smaller builds. It's actually one of the things we capitalized off of for those 6.7s that we have as the lockdown and the back end builds, is having 88 interior defense on them. If you want to check those out, obviously it's in a separate video, very close to these ones, obviously. And then again, I think this is really good value. Like, I don't know, people will be like, oh, Laker, where's the speed booster? Where's the ability to handle the ball? I'm telling y'all, like gold unpluckable off the post control as well, paired with just being able to spam pro dribble style. I know it doesn't sound realistic, it doesn't sound doable, but also the way Tonic plays, 98 mid-range with 94 three-pointer. You don't need to handle the ball, you don't need to do dribble moves that much. Same goes for me. I feel like in this game, the left-right movement of normal dribble style and pro dribble style are very good, especially running that offhand. And honestly, when you pair that with the screen game, with the pick and roll, the fact that I'm an offensive rebound absolute crasher, and then you pair that with the 98 mid-range, generally we're going to be going to Tonic only on matchups that he doesn't have a pure lock on him, because if he does have a pure lock on him, we probably have better options on the offensive end as well. And if he has a shooting guard on him or something like that, then we're trying to take advantage of maybe his lack of perimeter defense, or whatever the lack of versatility in the pick and roll game may be. So then if we get the big man step in, or the power forward, whoever's guarding me when I'm screening, step into Tonic when he's trying to shoot, that opens up gaps for me to either get the ball in the pick and roll offense and like actually dunk the ball, or to just open up easy offensive rebound gaps as well, where I just have to box out the center and then we're home free for a board. I mean, there's a lot of stuff with this lineup that can get very intricate, and I think we finally have something crazy set up really well for this stuff. And again, his only has 90 pass hack, 91 gets you like needle threader, bailout, special delivery. It's not like it's a huge investment or crazy threshold to go for, but I just figured why not. And I just will say, like, from the amount that he's used layup on the court so far, I don't think it's worth that crazy investment that he has. But to be fair, I think he's using something like DeJounte Murray as his layup package. I would definitely think something like LeBron could be a little bit more usable, or even I think Luka was one of my favorites as well for like the floaters and everything else combined. But we leave Tonic to his own decisions. We're not gonna bully him into using certain things or anything like that. But again, I think a version like this with that 94 prim, just imagine that, fellas. Like, in this world of this lineup that we work, long story short, we're going to be able to have anybody on the court together. Everything works out properly. The only like not great lineup combo that we have so far is if AK and Tonic with these two builds are on the court together, because I feel like it limits our defensive versatility. I'll give you guys just a slight glimpse on the locks real quick just to see what we're kind of talking about pairing them with. So let's say, for instance, this is Bonnie's build right here with the back end, and same goes for the lockdown. They look very similar, so you guys can see how if one of them's only playing and we're not having both of them, because the idea is to have two of these builds on the court, the lock and the back end, that have very similar, you know, like defensive abilities, essentially. If we only have one of them on the court, that downsizes it to where we have two prim locks now. We have AK and Tonic with these two builds that I just showcased, where it doesn't have very good block or interior rebound, but the perimeter defense and the steal is very high. So it limits our versatility a little bit in terms of like these two builds, if you pair two of them together, can switch everything really, really well. Whereas if we have Tonic and AK guarding ball with those two prim lock type builds that we've just showcased, that would pretty much just mean we have less defensive versatility. But the offense would be a little bit more improved, because obviously the plan is to put one of these builds on the hash on offense. In this case, Bonnie's build with the 85 3-pointer and 93 mid-range. If we have a 94 3-pointer on the hash instead of an 85, that does go, you know, it's not a super long way, but it can definitely go a long way. And same goes for like the threat of someone having to guard them. Like, you know, matchup wise, if we have one of these builds on the hash, generally the shooting guard's just going to guard them, or maybe even the point guard. And then our opposite hash, which is like, let's go back to the guard builds, we'll just use any of them as an example, whether it's AK or Tonic. A build like this is going to get a pure lock on them. The matchups are generally going to be a pure lock on this guy, a power forward on me, a shooting guard on the other, like, you know, hash spot up that we were just talking about, and then the center and point guard will probably be in the corners. But if we're playing with two point guard options, like for instance this build and the other one I just showcased to you with Tonic, that changes a lot of things to do with matchups. They're going to have to put a pure lock on this build for AK still, and then Tonic gets shooting guard matchups all day, and that's something we're going to be able to take advantage of quite a bit, in my opinion. And long story short, between the two lineups, you're either more offensive or more defensive. So anyway, that's all for the video. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, feel free to drop a like, sub if you're new to our notice, all that good stuff. And like always, tries 1 to 1,000 likes. And if you made it to the end of the video, put AK or put Tonic in the comments. Short support to me all the way through. And you know, there's a couple small minor things that I was going to tell you guys about, like for instance how 68 close shot is going to get you fearless finisher, masher, stuff like that. At 70 you get pro touch, at 71 you get fast twitch and hook specialist and stuff like that at a higher level. I just have a couple of minor tweaks to the version that I created and stuff like that. But I'm telling y'all, I think a lineup like this, you're going to see it in action a whole lot more. We're into like, you know, Dunk and Hoff League and stuff like that a little bit more, and I'm looking forward to actually getting these comp matchups to you guys. So anyway, that's all for the video. Hope you all enjoyed. And on that, take it easy, man. Peace.